welcome to Bad is Herbal. Today we're going to talk about Aqua Cascade featuring the new Blastoise from Pokemon Go with the Vitality Spring ability, allowing to attach up to 6 energies from your deck to your Pokemon in any way you like, but you have to end your turn after using this ability. It can also do Hydra Pump for 90 base damage plus 30 more for each water energy attached to this Pokemon. So we are playing water energies for this deck just because we have our Kingdra with the Deep Sea King ability, allowing us to move any amount of water energy cards from our active Pokemon to it once it gets knocked out. We also have 4 copies of our Irida to help us get our rare candy for the stage 2 evolution, 4 VP Pass, 4 Quick Ball, 2 Level Ball, and 1 Hisuian Heavy Ball for the basic summon, 4 Incense and 1 Ultra Ball for the evolution, and 1 Escape Rope for the switch. To search for our supporter card, we have Illuminion 2 copies, and 4 Quick Balls to get it into our hand. We're also playing 1 copy of Radiant Venusaur with the Sunny Bloom ability, helping us draw cards until we have 4 cards in our hand at the end of our turn. And since we're playing Rubox abilities, we need to watch out for Path to the Peak, which is why we have our Pumpkaboo in here as well, to easily remove that stadium from play. So the main attack that we're focusing on for this deck is obviously Aqua Burst and Hydro Pump, but we can also use Venusaur's Pollen Hazard since we're playing 3 copies of Aurora Energy. Finally, with 1 Mana Fee for the bench barrier, 1 Boss's Order for the extra power play, 1 Wash, and 10 basic water energy. So that's all for the deck list, and if you guys are in need of any specific cards or packs for your own PTCG account, feel free to contact our sponsor from X-Trainer90 team for the best price in Pokemon TCG online codes. You can contact them through the links in the description below, or you can click on the top right corner of this video. They even got complete personal decks you could purchase, full art, secret rare, gold cards to add to your collection, and packs from any expansion in format. Brilliant Stars, Astro Radiance, Rebel Clash, you name it. And now let's go for gameplay! Okay, let's go for our first game versus Darkrai V-Star. So Darkrai is actually weak towards Grass type, the only V-Star that is a Darkness Pokemon. There are so many Poison types now, Galarian Slowking VMAX, Eternatus, I mean Poison types are everywhere, Gengar VMAX. We finally have a Darkness V-Star Pokemon, which is pretty new. It's Astro Radiant, so it's, you know, not something to be taken lightly, obviously, because we have actually our Grass Pokemon to attack with. We can actually do Pollen Hazard for a decent 180 damage against Darkness Pokemons. 180 plus the special condition is not bad, because Moltres actually does 30 damage to itself. So we can actually knock out Moltres, force them to kill themselves with their Aura Burn, because we have our Pollen Hazard to do 180 if they don't protect from the weakness. We actually get, I don't think Darkness Pokemon can protect from weakness except with Missprit, and Missprit actually requires you to bench a lot of Pokemons. They don't have the space for that if they want to run their Darkrai engine. So Darkrai requires a lot of support in terms of bench. They need Greninja, they need Moltres, Weezing, they need a lot of ways to draw out the cards into their hand, Tracking Shoes, Pokestop maybe. So Darkrai, I don't think they get to play Missprit, because they need that much bench, right? They need the 1 prize Moltres and also the Diaphragm Wings. So if we poison and burn them at the same time, we actually get to confuse them as well with Pollen Hazard. We get to do 180 plus 33 damage counter passing the turn. That's 210 damage with our Pollen Hazard against a Darkness Pokemon. For only 3 energies, that's not bad. A Radiant Pokemon gets to attack, and we actually have 3 Aurora Energy in this deck as well to help us do that attack for the special condition. So they actually we get to confuse them, and that means they need to flip the coin to be able to attack every single turn if they don't switch. So we got our Irida fast, we got our Rare Candy Evolution for Blastoise. So the obvious downside for this deck is we don't have Diancie. I tried with Diancie, it doesn't actually work that well. So Diancie requires you to have like basic Pokemons on your bench, and if you evolve into your Hydra, they can still do a boss. If you Vitality Spring to your Blastoise, they can still boss your Blastoise. So Diancie doesn't make much sense, because just to bring it out into your active spot, it actually requires a lot of cards. It requires a lot of different support trainer cards to make sure you have a Diancie in your active spot for at least 2 turns, because that's how long it takes. That's how long it takes for you to evolve both your Blastoise and Kingdra, at least 1 copy of a Kingdra, for Deep Sea King to work. So if you don't have Diancie early, it's gonna be quite difficult. You need switch cards in your deck just to put that Diancie as the active. But we actually can retreat though, just because all of our Pokemon is only 1 energy retreat. Just because we need, you know, I prefer to play more of those support cards to make us evolve faster. If we can evolve, for example, 1 Blastoise and a Hydra on our second turn, that's good enough. I don't think we need Diancie, honestly, Because we have our Luminion, we can actually search for Irida quite easily. If they boss the Blastoise, we got our Venusaur. Obviously, you know, try to attach everything to Blastoise if you have a Kingdra before playing your ability. Before using Vitality Spring, if you have a Kingdra on your bench, if you're lucky enough to get a rare candy and an Irida in your hand, you actually get to do double stage 2 evolution. That means you get to play Vitality Spring for 6 energies onto Blastoise. If they boss your Blastoise, you get to put all those 6 energies back to your Kingdra to do 200 plus damage with your Aqua Burst, which is not bad. And then all you need to do after that is keep on evolving for your next Kingdra, and you're good to go. If you don't have a Kingdra on your bench, it's always better to spread your energies. Like as you see right now, we are we're investing 3 copies on each Pokemon. We have 3 on Venusaur and 3 on our Blastoise, and unfortunately they actually killed our Venusaur. We are not able to hit for the weakness for this game. We have no rods to recycle our Radiant Pokemon. That means we are not able to play our Grass type against Darkness Pokemon, which is quite you know, a waste, just because we are hitting the weakness for extra damage right there. But I suppose that's fine just because we are playing a one-hit KO deck, so it doesn't really matter how much we're doing. As long as we can get enough energies into play, we're good to go. So apparently we can't attack this turn. We're not able to because they actually... we were planning to attack with Venusaur, but they bossed us on last turn, so we're not able to do anything. We invested an extra energy onto the Horsey before doing the Vitality Spring, which isn't really too smart, so now we are not able to attack. So this is the bad thing for this deck, is that if we can't do a double stage 2 evolution, we are basically screwed if they get a boss on their second turn. If they get a boss, well, on their third turn actually, because we actually only get to evolve on our second. So it's quite easy for them to do that, especially with Starbirth and Inteleon Shady Dealings. So we need a proper counter, and I think the only way we have against that is to do everything really fast. So obviously if you can do your Vitality Spring and evolve a Kingdra, that would be best, but if you can't, it's okay to kind of spread your energies around and then think about evolving your second Blastoise, because you may need your second one. So if you, for example, spread energies, if you have 3 energy on your Blastoise and 3 on your Venusaur, and if you attach 1 onto your Horsey, as you see right now, if we have a second what's it called, Squirtle on the bench, we can actually evolve it on the next turn and then Vitality Spring again, but we actually don't need to, just because we get to survive an extra turn with our Blastoise. They boss something else, that means Blastoise get to use Vitality Spring for this game a second time. We only have 2 copies of our Squirtle and Blastoise though, so it may not be that easy to rare candy evolve the second copy. It may be in the price card. We do have 1 heavy ball to get our second Squirtle, but not the second Blastoise. We have 1 War Turtle and 2 Seadra to allow us that level ball evolution. Okay, here comes Star Abyss, and they actually did the search for a tool card and a Pokegear instead of the usual Dark Patch. I don't think they need that much damage. I suppose that's why they're not searching for the Dark Patch. We are playing a 1 price deck, so they don't need a lot of damage to knock us out. And Moltres is gonna attack first, obviously, because it's gonna die anyways. Might as well just use it to attack. And then Darkrai all the way. All we need is 3V knockouts, but they're probably going to play the 1 price Moltres at some point. So 1 price Moltres is going to be a bit of a problem, just because it helps them collect extra prizes, and we don't have a boss for this game. This list doesn't actually have a boss. The final version, the final upgrade of the deck has a boss's order, just because I actually thought it's, you know, kind of compulsory for any deck that you build, and we cannot go without that card. I thought we don't need it just because we are playing a 1-hit KO. All we need to do is just attack every single turn, knockout, 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 right? We have our Kingdra, Blastoise to do like a billion damage with Hydro Pump and Aqua Burst, so all we need is a lot of energies. Bad thing about this ability though, Deep Sea King does have its weakness. If your opponent knock out your active Pokemon with a lot of energies attached, if you invest all of your energies on your Blastoise for example, and then if you have it knocked out with damage counters, or if your opponent kill it with special conditions, if they knock it out with, for example, a Shedinja Garbodor Life Squeeze and Poison, or like a Slowking VMAX Poison, or even Inteleon Quick Shoot, or even a Burn Condition. So whatever that happens, if you get killed by special conditions or damage counters, you cannot move any energies back to your Kingdra. Kingdra's ability does not work if your Blastoise if any of your active Pokemon gets killed by special conditions. So that is the major weakness for this deck. We do have a counter for that though. Virizion V, the new Astro Radiance Virizion V, actually protects all of your Pokemon with grass energy attached to them. So Aurora energy, obviously we get to invest that. We have to attach that to our Blastoise and Kingdra if we want to protect them from special conditions. But we don't have a counter against damage counters. They can still play Mimikyu VMAX. They can still play Quick Shoot, Zigzagoon, Obstagoon to basically knock out our active with damage counters, which is quite annoying. They can actually do Medicham as well to collect the knockout with Yoga Kick, earn an extra turn, and also deny us that energy attachment, deny us our Deep Sea King ability, which is going to be super disruptive. Because without that ability, I don't think we are able to win this game at all. We are featuring this deck off of the powerful Deep Sea King and Vitality Spring ability, trying to match up these two powerful Stage 2 Pokemons in the same deck, which is kind of difficult just because playing 2 Stage 2 is never a good idea to play that many Pokemons in your deck, especially like Rare Candy for 2 different Stage 2 Pokemons is kind of absurd to be honest, but we actually have our Irida and Lumineon to get that supporter card to help us fast evolve both of those Stage 2 cards at the same time on the same turn if possible. It's not really that likely for every game, for every situation, but you know, we are increasing the chances, we are maximizing the potential of a double Stage 2 evolution within a single turn by using our Luminescine. And if they play Path, we have our 1 Pumpkaboo to remove that card, remove that stadium from play. We've got our Pumpkin Pit to rely on. If they play Weezing, we are completely screwed because Weezing actually gets to block not only your Vitality Spring, but also your Luminescine Sunny Bloom ability. Radiant Venusaur doesn't get to draw, and you also don't get to play your Deep Sea King ability. So no ability works, and we actually need Vitality Spring, which is the first thing we need to do is to get those energies into the game. And if we can't do that, we're completely screwed. They got Crushing Hammers for Galarian Weezing deck, Crushing Hammer, Fan of Waves, Team Yell, maybe even Clefable Prankish to disrupt our energy cards, and we got Silene now to loop those item cards. Silene for Crushing Hammer. It's gonna be completely, terrible if we get matched up against a Weezing. I don't think we stand a good chance at winning. I don't think we have any chance of winning against a Weezing deck, honestly. Okay, here comes the one prize Moltres. They're doing Fiery Wrath for 200 damage. 220, my bad. And we got our Rare Candy. Oh, they just played a Marnie, so we could have done our Rare Candy evolution, but I think we got another Rare Candy, which is quite surprising. But we got Iridas in the deck. We got 2 more copies of Irida. So for this list, as you can see, we have our Bruno instead of our boss's order. I finally decided to just remove that Bruno. I don't think we necessarily need it, because it's quite unnecessary. If we got like an Irida instead of the Bruno, we can actually search for the evolution, and all we need to do after our Vitality Spring is to keep on evolving. That's all we need to do. We don't need to draw cards into our hand. We don't need to draw anything. All we need to do is evolve, evolve, evolve. Bench, evolve, and Irida helps us do that. Boss's Order helps us target the right Pokemon, just because if we, if they have, for example, a Dialga V-Star on the bench waiting to do Star Chronos or something like that, we actually get to boss it early and, knock it out before it gets to do that V-Star power. Okay, our only hope is if they don't play a boss, because we actually couldn't do anything this turn. So if that Bruno was a boss, we actually won this game this turn already. If that Bruno was a boss, we already win. But right now, it's kind of on our opponents. The advantage is on our opponents' end right now, because if they have a boss, we are completely screwed. All they need to do is search for that one card. Do they have it in their discard pile? Have they already played it? I don't know. I'm pretty sure I haven't seen one yet, so it's quite likely for them to get it. Unless if they can't, like, if it's prize or something, you never know. If it's at the bottom of the deck, let's hope they couldn't find it. So they're playing Eldegoss for this. Oh, there we go, they played a Judge, which is a supporter card, so no boss. They are completely screwed. We got our third Kingdra on the bench, ready to collect those energies, so they're completely dead. Is the end. So they got 150 damage in, exactly enough to kill the Kingdra, but we have another one. They are done. Escape Rope is not going to help them, and they just conceded. So they got Eldegoss for the list, which is pretty interesting, because Eldegoss works really well with your one prize Moltres. That charge ability allows you to attach from your hand, 2 extra darkness, and that helps you. That's actually a pretty good combo with the Eldegoss. So Eldegoss for 2 extra energies into your hand. Moltres, you don't need Clara anymore. You can actually play like, Eldegoss, Moltres, and Research for even more energies into your hand, and then Quick Ball discard for Dark Patch, something like that. You probably have a lot of energies in the discard pile by then, right? Late stage in the game, you probably have a lot of energies discarded, and you can play your Dark Patch, Research for Dark Patch after playing your Moltres. Okay, right now we're up against Mew VMAX, Fusion Strike deck. So I suppose we have the advantage right here, because we're playing a one-hit KO. If we don't win against a Mew VMAX, I don't know what this deck is good for, right? We should be winning, but they have Meloetta, they have Oricorio to basically damage us. I think their saving grace here is Oricorio, because Oricorio gets to place damage counters with Glistening Droplets, but it's only 5 damage counter. I doubt that they have enough turns to pull it off, because they need to kind of lower our HP until it's within the range of that 5 damage counter. We could actually, heal. You never know if your opponent is going to play heal cards in your deck, but I don't think we have the space for that. I think our opponent is probably going to know playing 2 stage 2 cards require a lot of supports that you don't actually get to fit in any heal cards. I mean, it makes no sense why one price to play heal cards, right? So I think the best bet for them is to obviously play something like Psychic Leap, onto our stage 2 card, onto the Kingdra or the Blastoise. Psychic Leap a few times, and then, or even Melodious Echo for like 140 damage. If they don't play the third Fusion Strike energy, if they're smart enough, they would do Melodious Echo for 140, or even Psychic Leap with that with Power Tablet. Psychic Leap with Power Tablet for up to 130 or even more. 130, I think they should be doing 130, right? 130 damage, and then on the next turn, Glistening Droplets with either a Mew VMAX to copy their bench Oricorio, or even to attack with Oricorio. It's better to copy though, because if you copy, then on your next turn, you get to use the Glistening Droplets a second time, right? Because I don't think they have Rods in this deck. I don't think they can recycle their Pokemons after the knockout. So if they copy with Cross Fusion Strike the Glistening Droplets for the first strike, they actually need a lot though. They need to do Meloetta first. So I think the only way to win against this Kingdra deck, we have fought Mew a few times and we won a lot of times. We won probably all of the games that we fought against Mew. But I think the only way that you can win against our deck is if you are like smart enough, obviously, but if you are alert, aware of the power of Oricorio, because we need to be playing, you need to be using your damage counters to knock out are active. If you don't do that, then we get to play our Deep Seeking ability, we get to use Kingdra's Aqua Burst every single turn, and you're completely screwed because you have so many V cards. Like, we are collecting our prizes very fast, even if we are pulling those cards out late. You are, for me, VMAX decks, they get to collect prizes faster, but they get to do knockouts faster, but they only get to draw like one prize at a time. Unless if they boss or Lumineon. But obviously, golden rule is to not play that many Lumineons. If you can afford not to, then don't use that card at all. So we actually got a pretty bad hand right now. We got a kind of a shitty start because we got nothing but a Bruno. We actually need to bench a Lumineon if we want to get our Irida. So fingers crossed we either top deck an Irida or a Quick Ball at least. We have that Rose Tower to fall back on if all else fails. So Melodious Echo for the first knockout. I think I lost my train of thought right there. So I think the only way to win with a Mini VMAX deck is if you do Melodious Echo with 2 Fusion Strike Energy for 130 damage onto your opponent's stage 2 card late stage in the game. If you have like 3 prizes remaining, it's better to just to do Melodious Echo and then collect the knockout with Glistening Droplets, because all you need to do is do a 2-hit knockout strategy. If you do the 2-hit knockout to draw 1 prize, you are delaying an extra, you're giving an extra turn to your opponent, you're giving us an extra turn, but that's okay because that means we have no energies on our Kingdra, we have no energies in play, no energies on the field, we cannot do any damage. So that's the power of damage counters. Make sure you are smart when you're playing this game. Use every advantage that you can, don't ignore the silly attacks, Glistening Droplets is a silly attack, but if you use it right, you can actually help yourself a lot. It can give you a big boost. Okay, are we gonna evolve first or play the Rose Tower? Obviously, if we get our Rare Candy and Incense, or even an Irida, I think we played our Bruno already, so I don't think we can hope for a Rare Candy evolution this turn. Unfortunately, we are delayed by another turn. We are not able to evolve our Blastoise. If they do a boss and knock out our Wartortle on the next turn, we are completely screwed. So we got a really shit start because we got no VIP Pass, we got no Irida, no Rare Candy, no Quick Ball for Lumineon. We got 4 Quick Ball, 1 Ultra Ball to summon our V card for Luminescine. We got 4 Irida, 4 Rare Candy, so I don't think it's that difficult to get them on the first turn, but we got nothing. So it was pretty depressing, honestly. If we don't do Rare Candy for Blastoise on our second turn, we are completely screwed. So let's see if we can survive this game. We are delayed for that extra 1 turn, but they are playing a VMAX and a V deck. They have that Genesect on the bench. So we actually have no Escape Rope and no boss for this list, which is really bad. I eventually decided to swap that Switch card for an Escape Rope just because we actually can retreat with Venusaur as well. Venusaur is the heaviest Pokemon to retreat for this deck. With the exception of Blastoise, just because Blastoise have energies to retreat, it can actually retreat because we want to be attacking with it. We want to be doing Hydro Pump. So if we are attacking with Blastoise, we would probably be able to retreat with it. And same thing goes for Venusaur. So initially, I don't actually have Aurora energy in this list. I don't think this one, I'm pretty sure this one has it though. So this is close to the final upgrade. But initially, when I first built it, I actually don't have Aurora energy for Venusaur. So without Aurora energy, Venusaur is not able to retreat because we wouldn't be attaching energies to Venusaur anyways. Because why would we do that? If we can't attack, they're probably not going to knock it out. That energy is going to get stuck there, and it's not going to get transferred to our Kingdra. So if we swap for Aurora, we actually get to attack with Venusaur, and force our opponent to deal with that Pokemon, deal with that threat. If they knock out our Venusaur, we actually get to transfer all of those energy to our bench Kingdra, and then do Aqua Burst on the next turn for more and more and more damage. And we also get to retreat with those Aurora energy as well. In a case, in the event of our opponent playing a boss to stall our hand, if they do a boss to basically deny us an extra turn, we actually get to retreat with our Vitality Spring. Obviously, Vitality Spring, the first time you do it, I think is the best to charge up both your Venusaur and your Blastoise. If you have a Venusaur in play, if you don't have one, then just charge it up onto your Blastoise, right? If you have no Kingdra though, it's better just to spread your energies as much as you can. I keep saying that, but it's like the golden rule. We can't go without that. Okay, we finally got our energies, we finally got our double stage 2, and we got 3 attackers in play. We're gonna have to choose which one to knock out. On the next turn, we just need a Rare Candy Evolution, but we also need our Horsey though. We need to prepare for our next Kingdra. So not only an evolution, but also another bench Horsey. We have a lot we need to think about for this deck. So search for the Pokemon, evolve, search, evolve, search, evolve, bench, search, evolve. That's all we need to do right after the Vitality Spring. And then that actually guarantees us a one-hit knockout every single turn with Aqua Burst. We're gonna do Venusaur first because we don't want to be wasting our Kingdra for a one-price card. We want to be saving saving our Aqua Burst for that VMAX if they have it, if they are planning on using their Mew. I don't think they have any Mews inside, but they can't actually attack with anything else. Genesect needs that Fusion Strike energy, and if we kill the Meloetta, they actually can't attack with Genesect. They can attach the final Fusion Strike energy to their Oricorio, but Oricorio is not doing a one-hit knockout. They got 3 prize remaining. That means they can collect 1 more with the Meloetta, and then possibly 2 more with the Mew. But all we need is to kill 1 Mew VMAX, 1 Meloetta, and 1 Genesect. But I don't think we can kill Genesect because we got no boss. So we actually need like 3 more knockouts. We need 2 more prize in addition to that VMAX. So it's not that easy, but I think we can pull it off. I think it's possible. Meloetta is actually not doing a knockout this turn. Look at that. Without Power Tablet, I don't think they can kill us, because it's doing only 140 damage. There we go. Meloetta is not doing a knockout. So we got an extra turn thanks to Venusaur's high HP. So Venusaur is basically a stage 2 equivalent. It has the health point of a stage 2 equivalent, and that means we get to survive for an extra turn, to do Pollen Hazard a second time before playing our Kingdra for Aqua Burst. And here comes we don't actually need our 3rd Kingdra though. So I just realized that because they are down to 3 prize. That means if they knock out that 3rd Rare Candy was unnecessary, honestly. If they knock out the Venusaur, they just need to deal with 2 of the Kingdras and they actually win the game. So if they can knock out 2 Kingdras, then that's the end. But I don't think they're able to do it. So Glistening Droplets actually means we can't. There we go, they are doing it right now. That means we can't we're not able to transfer those Aurora energy onto our Kingdra, but we actually have enough from our hand. We get to attach thanks to that training card. They actually gave us a training card, but I don't think we discarded any though. I don't think we discarded any energies. So we attach from our hand extra copies of those basic water, and all we need to do is attach 2 more, because without the Oricorio, 320 damage is enough to kill the Mew VMAX. So all we need is 2 more energies, and we already attached 2 on our previous turns. We got a lot of turns to spare, and now we can already kill the VMAX even without those Aurora energies. Double Turbo. They got 6 cards left in the deck, so they can't deck us out. That's the bad thing about Mew VMAX, is that you can't win in terms of decking your opponent. You can't win by stalling because you can't actually replenish your deck. You have no cards to recycle Pokemon's energies, stuff like that. And you need to draw really fast. You need to discard everything. You need to play Ultra Balls, Cram-O-Matic, and basically empty your hand enough to draw out the right cards for you to boss, for you to Elisa, for you to do your Cross Fusion Strike as early as possible, or even Melodious Echo. And there we go, they actually did a boss, forcing us to do the retreat. We got it though, we just need 1 energy for the retreat, and we actually get to recycle the energy thanks to Training Court. So always use your opponent's stadium card if you can. Make full use of any cards you have in play. And we actually get to play our Luminion, but we're just gonna not do anything. Luminion is better not to play it right now. We don't need it. Just don't bench V card, because they can actually boss it. Mew VMAX got a lot of bosses. So no Luminion, we're just gonna bench a Squirtle. Just for fun. Oh, we actually didn't bench it. They got 2 prize remaining. Now we are forcing them to kill for 1 prize, and we actually got the win if they attack with Mew VMAX. If they do Psychic Leap twice though, I don't think it's possible still. Because we can kill a V card. We can kill anything, right? So by the time they get their next attacker, if they do Psychic Leap, they're not doing a knockout, and we get to kill a V card on the next turn. I don't think they have any more 1 prize in their hand. I don't think they have any other attackers except for Mew. They can keep on leaping, but we got a V knockout either way, and we just need 2 more V knockouts, so there's no chance they can win this game because they got 2 cards left. 2 cards left in their deck. Psychic Leap is not gonna help them. Nothing is gonna help them. And they just decided to do Techno Blast for the knockout. I think it's the end right here. Psychic Leap. Sorry, my bad. Techno Blast. 190 damage. Why is it less? Oh, double turbo. My bad. So transfer. Always be careful because you don't want to be transferring to your other Kingdra. So we are being very careful here, transferring 1 at a time to a single copy, to the same copy, so that we get to concentrate the energies for a full VMAX knockout. And let's attach the Wash energy because it's not a Dualidon. Let's do 360 damage to knockout the Fusion Strike VMAX. So even with Oricorio, they cannot survive Aqua Burst, the final strike for the final knockout. And we won. It's actually a tournament. It's actually a tournament battle. We won against Mew VMAX for an extra ticket, and we won a Fusion Strike deck. Okay, right now we're up against a Arceus box. I think it's an Arceus Inteleon deck, a very meta Brilliant Stars meta deck. There we go, Arceus, Double Turbo, Melanie, Sharon Scare, Shady Dealings, Dunsparce Madness. So we got a lot more basic summons than our opponent. We got 4 VIP, 4 Quick Balls, 4 Irida to get those item / basic water Pokemon. So Irida can actually get you your VIP if you get it going second on your first turn. You can actually search for a VIP pass with your Irida, and then another, like maybe an evolution as well or something, just for your next turn. But we gotta always expect a Marnie. So never search for an evolution if you know you're gonna get Marnie. Never keep that evolution in your hand. But never say never, right? Like, it's always, sometimes it's better to do that. I don't know, you never know. It always depends on the situation. Okay, here comes the first Shady. So we got a really good hand. If they do, we got a great start as well with our VIP. If they do a Marnie right now, I would be quite sad. But we're probably gonna get either a Luminion or a Quick Ball for our Luminous Sign, and we got one last bench spot if they play Collapse Stadium. If they play Collapse Stadium though, we're completely screwed because we cannot actually remove the collapse stadium with our Pumpkaboo. We got no more bench spot left, and even if we can, we wouldn't be doing it because, well, we would be, because we actually got an extra spot, right? If we have like 3 bench Pokemon, we would be playing Pumpkaboo to remove that collapse stadium. We got an extra spot for Lumineon, but it's better just to play Lumineon instead of Pumpkaboo. It makes no sense, right? So Pumpkaboo is only there for Path to the Peak. I don't think we need to be bothered about any other. I don't think we need to be worried about any other stadium cards, honestly. Unless if they play like Crystal Cave or you know, stadiums that support their own Pokemon. If we want to disrupt them, Pumpkaboo could actually help us. Like Search as the Bath or Crystal Cave, Stormy Mountain even. Okay, let's get another Squirtle for some reason. I don't know. Oh, we actually decided to discard it. So we got lucky for this game because they got no energies on the first turn. No energies on the Arceus means they either got to... They can do Inteleon though. They either have to do... If they play Melanie, they cannot do a boss. Right? So we got lucky. Because there's no way they can play, they can do Trinity Nova and a boss at the same time on the next turn. If they do Trinity Nova, if they attack, they cannot play boss. If they play boss, they can't attack. So we actually got an extra turn. We don't need, you know, double rare candy on the first turn. We actually got, we get to do that a few games though, like 50-50. There is quite a high chance of you doing that for this deck. I'm proud to say. I wouldn't say 50-50 though. I would say kind of like 40-60. So 40% chance of you being successful to pull off a double stage 2 evolution on your second turn. So what I'm trying to say is like if you have a rare candy in your hand and an Irida, or even a quick ball and a rare candy, you can actually search for Lumineon to search for Irida, and an Irida for a second rare candy. You actually need another evolution though. So you need Incense and a rare candy already in your hand, or even like a Blastoise Kingdra. We have 4 copies of Kingdra though. We have 6 stage 2 evolutions, so 6 copies of our Blastoise and Kingdra in combo. That means it's quite easy for them to show up in our hand early to start the game. At the beginning of the game, it's quite easy for at least 1 copy to show up in your hand. And then if you have, for example, a Kingdra and a rare candy, in addition to that 1 quick ball or Irida, you can actually evolve both your Kingdra and Blastoise on your second turn. And that is the ideal case, the best case scenario for this deck, for this list, just because we want to be activating Deep Sea King if they do a boss right after Vitality Spring. Okay, we chose to do Vitality Spring a second time because they actually didn't attack. They didn't do a Melanie, they couldn't attack, so we're just gonna take the opportunity to get even more energies into our game. Even more energies into the field. And if they do a boss, we got our Deep Sea King double copy of Kingdra already. We get to draw with Sunny Bloom. So we just need to get our third Kingdra. If they do a boss, we just need to evolve the third one. If they don't, we can actually do Hydro Pump to knock out the active. So Hydro Pump is gonna help us kill the first Arceus. Unless if they do a boss. And then Aqua Burst for the next 2. So they can't play a Sharon. I think their main strategy for this list, for this particular deck that they're playing, is probably Sharon's Care. Sharon's Care, you know, to loop the energy, to loop the attacker, to keep on using Trinity Nova, and then recovering all damage from Arceus. But if you're doing a one-hit KO deck, as you're seeing right now, we're doing a one-hit KO against a V-Star, against a VMAX. That means they cannot survive, you know, they cannot survive enough. They can't actually play Sharon's Care at all, because we are denying completely that supporter card. So they got their first knockout, and we got our first V-Star knockout on the next turn. They have Dunsparce, but it's not doing anything. They got Greninja for the draw support. They have Shady for the next turn. I don't think they have that many Arceus. I don't think they have that many V-Stars in their deck. So if they have, for example, 3 copies, one could be prized. That means it may be a bit difficult for them to play the third one. So here comes Path to the Peak. We actually have a Quick Ball in our hand. We could have done our... we could have evolved just now, right? We could have done our Quick Ball for Pumpkaboo and then played the Luminion because they don't have a Collapse Stadium anymore. They have a Path instead. So we do have a Pumpkaboo inside our deck just now. We actually did VIP and we saw a Pumpkaboo inside the deck. So we could have done Quick Ball for Pumpkaboo, discard the Stadium, Luminous Sign for Irida, Rare Candy evolve our third Kingdra, and that actually seals the game. That means it's over, right? It's basically over because even with Avery or Boss, they cannot get through our Kingdra. We got 3 copies of 3 hit knockouts, 3 OHKOs with our stage 2 Aqua Burst attacker. So they actually conceded. There we go, it's the end. They couldn't get their third Arceus into the game. I don't think it's that easy. I don't think they have enough energies even. So that's it. Okay, right now we're up against a fire deck. We finally get to play against our weakness. We shouldn't be expecting, well, we wouldn't need to be playing against our weakness though, because we are doing a 1-hit KO anyways, so we don't need that weakness advantage. Okay, we actually got a Fairy deck sleeve. So Fairy deck sleeve for Diancie. We actually had a Diancie when we first built the list. Eventually I decided, you know what, let's just add more trainer cards to speed up our Rare Candy evolution. So it's not a fire deck, it's apparently a Regigigas. So that fire deck sleeve was a decoy. That deck box was a decoy as well. You got a bead of coin. Maybe they just forgot to change the deck list. Forgot to change the box. So sometimes I built a new deck and just forgot to change the deck box as well. I just set it to default, and default sometimes is the same as your previous deck that you built. I don't know. I don't think default works that way. I think default is always like the Arceus coin and like the Bidoof deck box or stuff like that. So the main problem, I would say the only problem for a Regigigas deck is to discard the right energies. If you don't discard Aurora, for example, and if you don't get your Scoop Up Net for the retreat, you're kind of stuck with the Regi in the active. You can't attack, you can't switch, you're kind of stuck for like 1 or 2 turns. Because without Aurora you cannot attack with anything but Regigigas. Without Twin Energy you cannot attack with anything. So they need either 2 discarded Twin Energy or like 2 Aurora in the discard pile. Without those combos they cannot do it. So if they have, for example, a Twin, a Powerful, an Aurora, a Capture discarded, they cannot attack. They can't attack with anything. They need to attach a Twin from their hand to Regigigas. They need to Scoop Up Switch to attack with their Heavy Impact, I think. And then, you know, focus on Regieleki or some other attackers on the next turn. It's very easy to play this deck though. It's the easiest, most consistent deck in format. Because all you need to do is bench, discard, discard, discard. We got Pokestop now. And you get to discard much easier. But if you discard too many of your Regis though, you're gonna have to waste your Rod just to shuffle them back. And then, you know, you're gonna have to play a lot more Quick Balls, Level Balls. No Level Ball, my bad. A lot more Quick Ball, maybe a Lure module, and like Ultra Ball to get back those, you know, to search back for your Regi and bench them all over again. So Avery, that's why Avery is a big thing, because of Regigigas. And that's why you see a lot of decks now have like at least 1 or 2 copies of Avery. And Avery is gonna destroy Regigigas because we are forcing them to recycle those Pokemons and search back for them. And you know, in addition to the knockout, they need to shuffle back 3 Pokemons, right? Because Avery discards 2, you're knocking out the active. That means they need to recycle 3 Pokemons in a single turn, bench back 3, which is quite a big, you know, it's quite difficult to pull off. Because you only got that many copies of Rare Candy, got that many copies of Rod that you could play. Or maybe Clara, if they play Clara, it could be actually much better. Because it's going to save them, it's going to be an instant save from the discard pile into their hand. And that's going to do a lot more for them. But that means they can't draw anything else, they can't, you know, they can't do anything else. Okay, they actually couldn't attack for like 2 turns, I think. So here comes our second evolution. We're gonna do our Vitality Spring. We got a Bruno for this list as well, quite a different one. I think for most of this video, we actually have Bruno instead of Boss. Only like 1 or 2 games that we get to fit in the final upgrade. Boss is obviously the best combo, because Boss is a necessity. It's a necessity for any deck, and if you don't play a Boss, you stand a good chance at losing, even with a one-hit KO deck. But you know, just because this is such a powerful deck, it actually doesn't really need a Boss. But if you have it, it's gonna be much better. So that's why, you know, replacing the Bruno for a Boss is actually gonna make it much better. Because we don't need to draw that many cards. We got our Venusaur. I don't think we have a Venusaur for this list. So Venusaur is gonna help you draw every single turn at the end of the turn, especially after doing your Vitality Spring, because you're ending your turn with the ability, doing nothing else. You're not drawing a prize, you're not drawing extra cards into your hand. That means you get to end your turn and then play all of your item cards, maybe even Ultra Ball to discard extra copies from your hand, and then keep your hand as small as possible for you to draw out as many cards with your Sunny Bloom. So that is the main strategy for this deck: Vitality Spring, Sunny Bloom, and then after that just Irida, Sunny Bloom, Irida, Sunny Bloom. Right? As fast as possible to get out as many Kingdras onto your bench. Okay, they did their first attack. Regigigas finally did heavy impact. Is it heavy impact? I'm not too sure. And we actually played Bruno. Boss Order is actually not gonna help us for this game, because it doesn't matter what Pokemon we knock out. They're gonna, you know, they can recycle everything. They can recycle anything with that rod, and all they need is a new attacker. All they need is to play the ability to reattach the energies from the discard pile to any of their Regi Pokemons. Any Regi gets to attack, any, you know, any type gets to attack, they get to hit for the weakness as well. So they're doing Targeted Bolt for this game. Targeted Bolt actually helps them do a one-hit knockout on our Blastoise, because it is weak towards lightning type. I don't think Registeel can knock out the Blastoise, because it does like 50 less damage for each energy, for each colorless in your opponent on your opponent's active Pokemon's retreat cost. So they're doing 150 less damage for Registeel, only 140 for Regirock, only 160, which is not enough to kill Blastoise. So their only hope of killing our stage 2 card is with Regieleki. And they couldn't get their Regigigas out, unfortunately, so they couldn't attack again, which is a bit sad. They should have done the Regidrago, because Regidrago helps them draw cards. Okay, we're gonna do our Irida for the Rare Candy evolution. We got 2 Kingdras on the bench. I think we're all set. All we need is like a final attacker, because we need to draw 4 more prize cards after the Blastoise gets knocked out. It's probably gonna get knocked out on the next turn. We're not gonna hope for it to survive. We actually got a Venusaur, but we didn't get it out into the game because we wanted to get our Kingdra as fast as possible. It's always better to get a Venusaur though, because Venusaur can still do a knockout. Oh, it's not able to though. I don't think Venusaur can do a knockout. So for this game, it's better not to play Venusaur, just because it actually only does 120 damage. So 90 damage plus burn and poison is equal to 12 damage counters passing the turn, and 120 is not enough to kill any of the Regis. You have 130 HP, that means Pollen Hazard is not going to do a knockout, so might as well just play nothing but Kingdra and Blastoise. So I suppose that's the reason I didn't VIP for that Radiant Pokemon. It can still help you do the draw support though, but we only have that one escape rope for the switch. In an event that they play a boss for the stall. So if they keep doing a boss, they can actually trap us, forcing us to waste an extra turn to do Vitality Spring onto the Blastoise just for the retreat, which would be quite ridiculous. And we only get to do that a few times. If we Vitality Spring and attack on the next turn, we would be wasting 2 turns not doing a knockout. So it's better to do Vitality Spring and then retreat and Aqua Burst or Hydro Pump for the knockout. Okay, they did Roxanne. We got nothing in our hand, but we don't need anything else. We just need to somehow evolve that last Blastoise. Because if they kill our Blastoise, right, we actually got 3 Kingdra though. Oh, I think we don't need to evolve anymore. So we don't need to be bothered with our second Blastoise. Just because we got 3 Kingdras on the bench, and it's already over. So even if they knock out our active, which they are not doing for some reason, they actually targeted our Manaphy. I think this is a beginner. I think this guy is kind of like a beginner, because he doesn't know how Manaphy works. Manaphy, if it's on your bench, you cannot hit it as well. It doesn't matter if it's in your active or on the bench. Manaphy's ability works everywhere, and it guards your bench regardless of where it is, as long as it's in play, obviously. It doesn't matter though if they kill our Blastoise on that turn, they still lose the game because we have already 3 additional attackers to collect the 3 remaining prizes. So even if they play Avery, we're probably gonna discard our Manaphy and the Squirtle, and they can't collect 2 prizes in a single turn. They got no multi-prize strategy, except if they knock out a VMAX or a V-Star, obviously. So VMAX is probably targeting VMAX decks with the Regigigas, because Regigigas that gets to do 150 extra damage against VMAXs. With Powerful and Choice Belt, you get to kill any VMAX with 1 hit. So that's the main advantage, the main selling point of a Regigigas deck. It's pretty old though, because it's Astro Radiance, like a month or 2 old. And they are not playing Pokestop. Like, Pokestop would work so well for your Regigigas. There's always a risk though. For your Regigigas, it's really good though, because you get to discard your special energies much faster, but you run the risk of discarding your Pokemon, and you only got that many rods, as I keep saying. If they play Avery as well, it's gonna be completely bad, because you're gonna have to recycle. You're gonna discard your own Pokemon, and you have to not only recycle your own discard, you not only have to counter the discard from Pokestop, you also have to counter your opponent's Avery in terms of reviving those Regis onto your bench. Okay, we got 1 last prize remaining, and they have no more Regigigas. I think they're gonna rot it back probably. So if you play Pokestop, it's better to play like at least 3 copies of each Ordinary Rod and Clara, Because if you don't play a minimum of three rods and 3 Claras, then you can't actually, you know, you cannot survive the discard. It's that important. Heavy ball as well. 2 copies is the ideal one, I suppose. 2 copies of each. If you have 2 heavy ball or maybe like 3, I don't know how many heavy balls you should fit in. Like, I'm kind of lazy with Regigigas because so many people has already done it. Like, I don't see any point in building the same deck, the same bloody boring old meta deck as everyone else. It's pointless to do the same work that everyone else, like so many people has already done. It's soulless. It's just meaningless. Like, why would anyone do that? So this deck is a bit different from the usual they conceded, so yeah, they couldn't do anything else, I suppose. This Blastoise is doing a little bit of a different trick than other Blastoise decks. So I've seen people play Vitality Spring for amazing Yveltal, which is like super smart. I've seen people play, Popsicle Knight plays Blastoise with Ambipom, which is quite smart as well, I would say, because Ambipom, all you need to do is evolve it, and then if you Vitality Spring onto that stage 1, you get to, you know, survive an extra turn if you flip a heads. So if your opponent attacks your Ambipom and you flip a heads, you get to prevent all damage done to your Ambipom, you get to survive a turn. That means ending your turn doing a Vitality Spring on your last turn is not a complete waste. But it's still a coin flip though. If you flip a Tails, that means Ambipom gets knocked out, you don't get to keep those energies, all those special energies gets discarded, and then you're gonna have to do Vitality Spring a second time all over again. So you run the risk of doing Vitality Spring over and over, and you can't actually recycle your special energies. There's no way you can shuffle back that many special energies into your deck. And if you don't play special energies for your Vitality Spring onto your Ambipom, it kind of defeats the purpose of the ability, because we want to be making full advantage of the ability to attach as many special energies for Ambipom's powerful attack. I forgot the attack's name, but the attack actually does 60x damage, which is a lot. 60x for each energy attached to that Pokemon, if for each heads that you flip. So you actually need to flip a coin for each energy, and you get to do 60x for each heads. That means if you do double turbo, you get to do like, how much is it? You get to do 100 damage for 2 heads. And if you do powerful, you get to do 80 extra damage for 1 head. So it's better to play, you know, a lot of special energies for your Ambipom Blastoise deck. But he actually played like Zoroark as well. Zoroark, Ambipom, and Blastoise. I would prefer playing Blastoise, Ambipom, and Level Ball, because playing Level Ball actually helps you evolve your Ambipom and your Blastoise at the same time much faster. And if you can do both those things, if you evolve, you know, both those cards at the same time, and then Vitality Spring passing the turn, your opponent is gonna have to deal with Ambipom's ability. Your opponent is gonna have to deal with Primate Dexterity, and if they can't get through that ability, you get to survive an extra turn. You get to attack on the next turn. If they boss your Apom, if you haven't evolved your Apom, if you evolve your Zoroark, you cannot actually Vitality Spring to your Zoroark because you're gonna have to discard everything before after the transformation. So you can't actually you cannot attach energies to your Zoroark, obviously. So it's better to just play enough level balls to evolve faster. Kind of the same as this list. If you are playing a stage 2, if you want to be doing Vitality Spring or passing the turn with an ability or boost shake or item card, camping gear, stuff like that, if you want to do Dream Gift to end your turn with the Greening Cells, it's better to play enough evolutions for you to survive an extra turn. That's the key to this, the ending turn effect. We want to be surviving as long as possible. That extra 1 turn is gonna do us is gonna help us a lot, and it's gonna help us do an extra knockout. It's gonna help us draw extra prizes. It's gonna give us an extra 1 turn. It counts everything. It means everything. So playing Zoroark is probably the most stupid thing that he could possibly play for his deck. He did. I actually, I respect the Blastoise and Ambipom combo, but I don't respect the fact that he's playing Ambipom with Zoroark just because he wants to fit in that Slowbro. I mean, it's kind of stupid, I would say. It's better just to play Blastoise, Ambipom, Rescue Carrier, Pokestop, and even your, what's it called? Irida, obviously, but even your Level Ball to get out your Ambipom as fast as you can. Because if you play Rescue Carrier instead of your Zoroark, you get to retrieve your Pokemon much faster. Zoroark requires Incense, and you only got that many copies of Incense you get to play in your deck. If you don't get your Incense, if you don't evolve your Zoroark, you cannot transform to your Ambipom, you cannot attack with your second attacker, you cannot do, well, you can't actually attack with your next Ambipom though, right? I suppose that's the reason he doesn't do that, because if your Ambipom gets knocked out, you can't actually recycle those energies. So that's the bad thing about Blastoise and Ambipom, is that if you play that combo, it's actually fun if you get the heads, but if you get the tails, you have to do Vitality Spring a second time, and then that's it. You don't have enough energies in your deck. Like, that's the end, basically. You don't have any more energies in your deck, and you're basically screwed. So that's how powerful Kingdra is. Kingdra actually allows you to keep those energies in play. You don't need Energy Recycler, you don't need Roseanne, you don't need some ways of recycling those energy cards, just because Kingdra allows you to put those cards back into play, reattach to your Kingdra on your bench, reattach and keep it, without discarding any, that means if your opponent knock out your active, you are not discarding any energy cards. That's the power of this Deep Sea King ability that we are playing for this list, and we want to be featuring this ability with Vitality Spring. Another deck which is quite stupid I've seen for Blastoise is Blastoise with Charizard and Charizard from Pokemon Go and Scorch. I mean, that is probably the most dumbest deck I've ever seen. The most, I don't know, I have no words to say. It's just completely stupid. The most idiotic, moronic deck in the whole wide world. I have no idea why anyone would build that deck, because it's so bad. It's just so fucking bad. It's so bad, guys. I have no words to say. It's just that bad. You're playing two different stage 2 cards, and you're playing a water. A water stage 2 is fine, because you have Irida to Rare Candy Evolve. You get to play Lumineon to search for Irida. It's fine. But if you have a fire stage 2, it's much more difficult to evolve your Charizard, and if you evolve it at the last minute, I can understand. You can always say, oh, we can Diancie and keep your Charmander at the bench until the very last minute, and then Rare can evolve the Charizard. But then, how are you still have to solve the problem of keeping Diancie in the active spot for long enough, for enough turns for you to do your Scorch. And by the time your opponent is aware of what you're doing, they're probably not going to draw any cards from their deck. They're probably going to kill your Diancie one at a time. They're probably going to boss your Blastoise. Once they boss your Blastoise, what are you going to do? What are you going to do if they boss your Blastoise and knock it out? You're going to have to re-evolve your second one. You only got that many Rare Candies in your deck, and you only get to play like 2 copies of Blastoise. What happens if you prize the second one? What happens if you prize a Blastoise, and then, if you can't evolve your second one after the boss, and if you can't evolve your Charizard at the right time, playing an Irida is not going to help you get your Charizard. It's not going to help you do a Rare Candy evolution for your Charizard. It's impossible to do that. Like, don't get me started with that. It's impossible. I don't know how lucky you have to get to be able to do that. They got that one Greninja to draw 2 cards in their hand. That's it. But how are you able to do your Charizard? How are you able to evolve that card? Like, what? It's ridiculous. Completely moronic. Charizard, Blastoise, and a stage 1 Scorch. Like, that's so stupid. And they even have an additional basic Pokemon. They have another 4 copies of Diancie and another copy of Radiant Greninja. That's how bulky that deck is. So many Pokemons. 2 stage 2, 1 stage 1, another basic, another radiant. Is ridiculous. It's so stupid. Don't get me started on that. Like, I already ridiculed that deck for so many videos already. I don't want to waste my time anymore because that deck is so fucking stupid. That deck is so fucking stupid. It makes no sense. I don't know how anyone could win a single game with that deck. It's so stupid. Probably because nobody knows what they're doing. If you don't know what they're up to, if you don't know that they're trying to mill your deck, because Senti Scorch from Sword and Shield does have the 100-foot Flames attack that allows you to discard your opponent's deck. If you're not familiar with that card, if you don't know what your opponent is trying to do, then you're probably gonna get lost in the game and then draw too many cards and they get to do, you don't know what you should be doing. So what you should be doing against that deck is boss that Blastoise. Boss that Blastoise, knock it out early, and then all you need to do is just kill the Diancie one at a time, and then they can't evolve Charizard at the right time. It's just impossible. And if they run out of their Diancie, it's quite difficult to get Diancie in the active every single turn as well. So once they run out of Diancie, boss that Senti Scorch. Kill that Senti Scorch. If they don't have a Diancie, do a boss, kill the Senti Scorch, and they're done. They're fucking done. Completely stupid deck. Useless. So stupid. Who in their right mind would build such a deck? It's so fucking stupid. 2 bloody stage 2 cards. 2 different stage 2. And you're playing a stage 1 attacker. Another stage 1 card. Another stage 1. Like, what? Are you serious? We are playing 2 stage 2 for this list, but we have no other attackers. We have no stage 1. We have no other, we have no 4 copies of basic that we need. We have our other support basics. We don't have 4 Diancies. We don't need any Diancies for this deck. And we have our water stage 2. We have our second stage 2 card, which is water type as well, which is going to work really well with Irida. So all we need to do is get our second Irida for our second stage 2 evolution, and that's all we need to do. Evolve Kingdra over and over and over to loop the energies, and we're good to go. So this is much better than that stupid ass Senti Scorch deck. I mean, oh my god, that deck is so stupid. The deck is just so fucking dumb. I don't know how they could win a single game with that deck. It's just so fucking stupid. So fucking stupid. Okay, right now we're up against a Samurott, Hisuian Samurott V-Star. And it looks like we're winning because we got like 1 prize remaining. They got quite a bad start though. They couldn't do their shady dealings on the second turn, and I suppose that seals the game. Because if you can't attack on your second turn, I think they go first as well. You're basically screwed. If you pass enough turns for us to do Vitality Spring and the Rare Candy Evolution, you're done, mate. Like, you cannot pass a single turn playing the standard format. So Arceus gets to do Starbirth, Arceus gets to do Shady. Arceus can attack on the second turn if they get the energy. So we need to be watching out for those turbo decks. If they are attacking on their second turn doing a boss, they can kill your Blastoise with a lot of energies attached right after the Vitality Spring, and that actually destroys your game a lot. That means you need either to play your second Blastoise, which is virtually impossible because we only have 2 copies in this deck. If we get the second one prized, or if we get like the Squirtle in the prize even, we only have 1 heavy ball in this list. So if we have the second copy prize, we can't actually do Vitality Spring again. And doing Vitality Spring a second time, even then, it's still a bad deal because we are wasting another additional turn. and that means they get to boss another time. So we need to, that's actually okay though. Doing Vitality Spring a second time is still good, just because we have Kingdra now. So before, before the second copy, if they knock out your Blastoise without a Kingdra on your bench, that's gonna be really, really bad, because you can't actually loop those energies. You're gonna have to waste and discard your water. That's gonna set you back by a lot. If you have a Kingdra on your bench, then you don't have to worry about anything. So that's why I say it's always like best practice to attach your Aurora energy to your Radiant Venusaur. Spread your energies if you don't have a Kingdra on your bench. Then at least you have like 3 energies, or like 4 or 5. If you attach from your hand on the last turn, you got 5 energies, to do Aqua Burst on your, well, 6 energies actually, to do Aqua Burst for 240 damage at least. If you have 7, you get to kill a V-Star already. So all you need to do is keep on attaching from your hand. We got, we don't actually have enough draw support, but we do have that one Sunny Bloom to draw 4 cards into our hand, and possibly draw from the prize as well, our water energy to attach from our hand. And all we need is 7, in addition to that 3 already attached to Radiant Venusaur right after it gets knocked out. We can actually attack with Pollen Hazard before doing Aqua Burst, and then collect the knockout with Aqua Burst for our first V-Star knockout. And then all we need to do is attach from our hand for the second V-Star knockout, and then evolve the next Kingdra, and that's it. So we still stand a good chance at winning against a V-Star deck if we have nothing but a Venusaur with 3 Aurora energy attached and Kingdras on the bench. It's still, a fair game for us. We still stand a good chance at winning. Okay, right now we're up against Urshifu. I think I'm gonna end the voiceover right here, leave you guys to focus on the game. I think you guys know how this deck works already, so hope you guys enjoyed it. Today we're featuring the new Blastoise from Pokemon Go with the Vitality Spring ability, allowing you to attach up to 6 energies, any energy, even special energy as well, from your deck to your Pokemon in any way you like. So we're attaching our Aurora to our Radiant Venusaur, we're attaching our Wash energy and Water energy to our Kingdra and Blastoise. We are recycling those energy as well with our Deep Sea King. Kingdra's ability from Battle Styles allow you to reattach all of those water from your active Pokemon once it gets knocked out by damage from your opponent's attack on your last turn. And you get to keep on looping that energy with your extra copies of Kingdra on the bench. We got 4 copies of Horsey, 4 Kingdras, and 2 Seadra to max evolve to keep on using Deep Sea King ability. And that's all for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll see you next time. Have a great day, and bye for now, lovely people. Enjoy your life.
back to back, and spinning on it back to back, on the turntables back to back, and spinning on it back to back, on it back to back, and spinning on it back to back, on the turntables back to back, and spinning on it back, on the turntables back, on it spinning on it back to back, and spinning on it back to back, on the turntables back, spinning on it and spinning on the turntables back.
Together we can show the world what we can do. You are next to me and I'm next to you. Pushing on through until the battle's won. No one's gonna give nothing to us. Into each other we put our trust. Standing united after the fight. All alone we will never be. The two of us are holding the key. We see today a world we couldn't until the battle's won. No one's gonna get something to us. Into each other we put our trust. Standing united after the fight. It's a brand new day. We have turned the page. Never knew how much I needed somebody to help me this way. Oh, mind to a limit where it needs to be. I work blind, got vision I don't need to see. I'm picking mind over matter, I believe in me. I need to find more hours in the day to breathe. Need to find more power in the way I be. And when my mind turns sour with the painful scenes, I need to scream out loud, I can't stop me. I wanna be the greatest like Rocky. You know I leave them all hating like a hobby. I'm out here making moves like a lobby. And if you ain't with me, it's your loss, see. I got my mind on the facts, I'm a python, grab what I like real fast. Stroke until I have everything I attack, everything that I lack, everything that I want and I see, matter of fact.
Cause I'm my own worst enemy, only if I let it be. I can control anything if I can just think carefully. I control my destiny. Deep up in my mind I manifest it. Every morning I wake up obsessed, and everything I do the best. And deep within my mind you know I'll always manifest it. I'm my own worst enemy, only if I let it be. I can control anything if I can just think carefully. I control my destiny. Deep up in my mind I manifest it. Every morning I wake up obsessed, and everything I do the best. And deep within my mind you know I'll always manifest it. I don't really know what comes next. I'm just doing my best, even though I'm so stressed out. Everything just feels like a test that I fail, so depressed when I can't seem to get out. But something deep inside won't let me quit. I swear that I'm inspired by all this shit. Tell me that I can and I won't. That's what guides me the most. Fuck your lies, I'll do what I want. Inspired by thirst, I'm inspired by worth. I desire your worst, so you can just hide while I work. I ain't tired, you first. I'll write a second, third verse about the lies you go disperse. You never did shit, I know it hurts. Something deep inside won't let me quit. I swear that I'm inspired by all this shit. Tell me that I can and I won't. That's what guides me the most. Fuck your lies, I'll do what I want.
win.